Okay, Mary with New American Funding, you are live.
Yay! Alrighty. Okay.
Are you gonna grab it, so?
Yes, I'm
Cool.
gonna grab
I'm
it.
gonna get started then. Well, first of all, hello everybody. Most of you are brand new faces for me, but I'm sure I will probably get to know everybody generally quickly. So my name is Mary. If you've talked to Tanya in the past, week or two, she may have told you I am her new marketing specialist. So I'm new to Tanya, but I'm not new to New American Funding. I've been with the company 2.5 years doing this exact role in Eden Prairie and Edina. So this type of thing, not new to me. It's just your faces are new to me. But I'm really, really excited to be here. Really excited to work with Tanya. I know she's absolutely amazing. We're going to be a good team, and we're excited to help you all out. So today's class, a couple different things we have planned. So the main aspect of this class is going to be helping you kind of get an idea for how you want to do a marketing plan in 2020. I'm going to walk you through the steps of what some of the top agents in KW do in their business. How they plan it out. Tanya's running to go get a couple things from the printer. First is a sign-in sheet. You already know what to do with that. Second is going to be an example spreadsheet that I show people. It's kind of an example of how you can plan out your year. By no means is it how exactly you have to do it. It's just to kind of give you a visual representation. I know I'm a very visual learner. So hopefully that'll be helpful for you as well. If it's more helpful for you to have your laptop and take notes, by all means do that as well. Okay. So, per usual, brought to you by Tanya. Like I said, I'm so excited to be here. It's because of Tanya that I do get to be here, so I'm really excited to reach out to all of you individually, get to know you a little bit better. So what we're going to start with, and we're going to kind of do, maybe I'm going to call it an Oreo. We're going to start as a little sandwich with marketing trends on the outside. That's cookie number one. The cream filling is going to be that marketing planning. And then we're going to end with some more marketing trends. Sound good? Cool. So first things first, and this is something that you guys deal with on a daily basis. So it's customer experience. First thing is providing fantastic customer experience will keep people coming back. That's a big kind of lesson connected to marketing planning. What we're going to be doing today is making sure those people that you work with once don't just use you once. They keep coming back to you for every transaction over their lifetime. Next is growth of online content has given consumers more power. They're going out and doing their own research. So I know with things like Zillow, Open Door, things like that, people are a little worried that their job is becoming a little less relevant, but that is so untrue. So while it is easier to go do a quick Google search and find out kind of the things that are happening in somebody's neighborhood, you have more access to data in regards to real estate, trends, what's happening, than just the average consumer. I don't know if any of you use it. Does anybody use InfoSparks? Okay. So it's part of the MLS. It's just basically kind of a tool where you can go in, kind of play around with types of houses, types of different neighborhoods, and kind of see the trends for those neighborhoods. So by having access to that content, you are then kind of, I guess, the ones who can then transfer that and help clients learn that same content. Honestly, one of the number one things I hear is people love getting, updates on their neighborhood, which is where those command neighborhood nurture campaigns come in. So just being the one that's providing this information for people so that they don't even have to go out and look for it. You're just automatically providing it for them. Next, 73% of people say that customer experience is an important factor in their buying decisions. So that is so true. A lot of the time, it's not just about like a one-click deal. Like people want to feel special. They want to feel that they're being paid attention to, that their wants and needs are being considered. So your job is so heavily involved in the customer experience already. So that's already kind of tying in what you already do for your clients. Next is visualization. So this one doesn't really surprise me. People prefer visual content to plain text. So true. That's why, Facebook posts, if you're ever on Facebook, posts that have some sort of visual element are going to outperform a post where it's just words 10 out of 10 times. That's why Instagram became Instagram. It's an all visual social media channel. The visual aspect has become so important for helping people not only get the information that you're trying to provide them, but do it in a quicker, easier, more visually appealing way. Next, 85% of people are more likely to buy your product after watching a video about it. So I have a slide about video content. Just quick show of hands, who's actively doing a lot of video marketing. My heart! Ooh. Okay, well hopefully after today we can all work together to change that. So I'm sure all of you have heard it by now, like video marketing is honestly the next wave, whether it's on your social media channels, so uploading a video to Facebook, doing a live video on Instagram, having a YouTube page, or if you're like cool with the kids, having a TikTok these days. Does anybody have a TikTok? Tanya?
Get it?
So it's huge, huge, huge. It's something I know Tanya and I are both trying to implement more. And even if you're kind of already like, oh, I don't know if I really like being on video, I'm sure you neither do either of us, and yet, we know the importance of it. You just got to do it, and we can help you do that and make it a little bit more comfortable. Another one, 180% more engagement on posts with images. That's kind of like what I was saying at the beginning. It's just having that added element, helping people understand the product or the person that you're trying to convey. And then lastly, adding infographics, images, and videos can help your message be absorbed better. That makes total sense. You're just adding that extra element. A lot of people are visual learners. It's just going to help them absorb that information a little bit better. Also, quick caveat, I talk really fast. So if at any point you need me to slow down or repeat something or go back a slide, please let me know. I do not take it offensively. I'm just that's how I talk. Any questions on this slide? Cool. So next is personalization. So forming a real connection between your product and the target market. So in this case, your product is really just kind of about you as a person. It's about differentiating yourself from other real estate agents on the market, not just necessarily how many listings you have or how many buyers you have. It's more about you as a person and why people want to work with you. 80% of consumers said they're more likely to do business that provides a personalized experience. That makes total sense. People want to feel special. They want to feel like you're paying attention, that you have your needs at the forefront. 54% of shoppers anticipate a personalized email within a day of sharing their information. Honestly, I feel like a day is too long. I'm pretty much used to, if I put my email in somewhere, I'm kind of anticipating within a few hours. So the same thing kind of goes for you when it comes to, are you meeting people at open houses? Did you meet somebody in line at the grocery store? Did you go out door knocking? Things like that. If there's somebody who's willing to give you their information, they're anticipating that you're going to be reaching out to them, that you're going to automatically start providing that awesome content. So that, once again, ties into some things that I'll be sharing with you later today, both in regards to what you can do with Command, what you can do with your social media. Live video. So not just video, but live video. People spend 3 times as long watching live video than they do watching pre-recorded videos. I think part of the allure of that is it's more natural. It's you just in front of the camera doing your thing. I think people are a little bit more intrigued by that and what you have to say versus something that you maybe sat in a studio and retaped 17 different times. It is the natural you. And something, if any of you were at the previous all Butler group meeting, do you remember the agent that mentioned, when they do videos, they kind of like having some of their flubs in it, having it not be perfect because it just comes across as more real. So live video is huge, and you can do that in so many different ways now. So Facebook Live has been around for quite a while, but now Instagram. So Instagram, you can do an Instagram TV. Have any of you tried that yet? Okay, well we're gonna get somebody to do it by the end of the next couple months. So it's just giving you more opportunities to be real, be in front of your audience. Oh, I should say another one, stories. Do any of you do stories? Mm-hmm. So you can do kind of those more live videos. I mean, they are technically pre-recorded, but it's still kind of, face to the camera, get in front of people in a more natural way. So those were some of the trends we wanted to talk about right at the beginning. Any questions about those? Anything that you've been seeing that, has been kind of blowing up that you maybe want to take advantage of in 2020?
Is TikTok really a potential
Yes.
that? It's so interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that is weird because I just remember a year ago Jimmy Fallon would not shut up about it.
Yeah.
He must have been obviously getting paid by them to left and right. Everything oh, we're doing this on TikTok.
Which is funny because a year ago it wasn't as big as it is now.
Oh yeah, it's just in the last maybe 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
I feel it's just am I not funny.
It is still a platform aimed towards adolescents, however, correct?
Yes.
And then
Yeah,
they
that
are
was my next
sharing with their
question.
parents, is that the whole
Mhm.
deal?
I
That's
think
how it started.
Yes, that's how it started, but I think adults are starting to realize like
Mhm.
the benefit of doing it, not just to track their kids and what their kids are doing, but they see like how popular and how much it can blow up. And like honestly, I think it's just a place for people to be a little bit more
Is it more like
goofy.
Vine was? Like
Kind of,
Yeah. Do
yeah.
any of you follow Lab Coats on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If not, do Lab Coats. So there was I want to say about 2 days ago, somebody shared their TikTok where it was the real estate agent showed up on time. And then so the split screen of him, ringing the little bell, he showed up on time. And then the family, that was probably on FaceTime or something. But they were like, they're so excited, they're crying, they're so excited, they can see a puppy, whatever. But he was making funny of it.
Yeah.
For the fact that he doesn't show up on time, and so it was pretty funny when he did. And so on Lab Coats, I've since seen two other ones that split screen where they're just doing funnies.
Yeah.
With, their contract got accepted, or whatever. So you have that, I would say 18 plus market that's pretty heavy on the TikTok. You'll see a lot of social media, people that just do social media stuff, not real estate market, but teaching people about social media, where they're really pushing TikTok.
Yeah, and I think too, because we feel at a mortgage, real estate, obviously a heavy populated industry, so anything you can do to differentiate yourself, and it's really a place to show your personality. So not just like the super humorous stuff, but I will say that's a trend that I personally have seen is how humor performs. So I know like taking a look, if you have a Facebook business page, you can look at your insights, see how your posts are performing. And honestly, I swear, some of the more like kind of fun, whimsical posts like outperform all the others, even if they're not strictly business all the time. And I tell people too, your business page shouldn't be business all the time. If anything, it should be over half like the stuff that inspires people, is fun, kind of gets their attention. So video, humor, if you can get into TikToking, I think it's super fun. And just go download TikTok, follow people that are kind of doing it that you want to get inspired by. But TikTok's
Have fun with it. It's
Yes,
not,
have
it's
fun
not,
with
hey,
it.
we might open. It's something to have fun with.
Yeah.
An example, my daughter is obviously on TikTok because she's 17, right? Her boyfriend likes the diesel pickup trucks, the big old pickup trucks, okay? So she did just a total video of a diesel, he was getting new wheels and tires, big uns, right? She posted this random video, nothing cute whatsoever, and she ended up getting, I think it was like 12,000 new followers to her TikTok page.
Jeez.
So,
I
you see
didn't
what
know
I'm
that.
saying? Mhm.
That's-
It's
So,
pretty
and it's
crazy.
hashtag.
all the boys.
Right.
Yeah.
I do think it's her truck, I'm pretty sure, but anyway. But hashtags, right? Are you using hashtags right now? If not, please do, okay? That's another thing that was
How
in her
important-
hashtags.
How important is it on Facebook? Hashtags.
I think it's just as important on Facebook as it is on any other, because if you go in, so Nick was asking this afternoon about open houses, like what's a good way for me to engage with agents in this market center to host their listings as open houses. And so, Wendy, of course, was saying you talk to them, you text them, you call them, email them. The other thing that he could do is he could go into the Facebook page. This office doesn't have a ton of that engagement, but you could go into the Facebook page and type just the word open houses in the search.
Right.
Well, those hashtags are going to pick up there. That's how anybody, if you got a bride, she's looking at wedding, locations, tent rental, music, that's what they're doing. They're searching those words,
Yeah.
and that's how they're finding all these
I
vendors
just didn't
to
know
help
if it
them.
was like the same way with like, looking at tags there. Cause
Yeah.
like I've looked like on, like when you're trying to search things in groups and stuff like that, putting it up there, but
Yep.
I just didn't
And
really.
you should be tagging too.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
if
for
you're
sure.
using Instagram, if you take
Yeah.
a picture of a cute little stage job that you did or something, or your balloons, you
Take
tag
Business
Party
or the
City,
product.
Home Goods,
Yeah.
Plymouth, whatever it is.
Because other people are gonna look at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tags and hashtags.
Sorry, I'm going back to TikTok. One last thing about it real quick. So one of the other things I like about that, and kind of to Tanya's point about how like her daughter's random video just blew up, I think that's still one of those, I mean, it's a newer social media. So at one point that was the same thing with like Instagram, or like how Instagram stories kind of came out when Snapchat was still big, and then all of a sudden they just blew up. So with TikTok, you're kind of, the way I look at it is it's an opportunity that not a lot of people are taking advantage of. So if you're willing to kind of put yourself out there a little bit and get on it and start just showing that personality, you're doing a huge favor for yourself because you're ahead of the curve. So my last plug about that, but we will be revisiting kind of some of those trends at the end of class as well. But keep some of those in mind as I'm going through now what, if you're familiar with this, a 36 touch marketing plan. So like I said, keep those trends in mind because a lot of that does tie into how you can kind of plan some of your marketing for the year. Are any of you familiar with this term, like the 36 touch? Are any of you actively doing it or like plan one out for the year? Okay, so I think, you know, like I love the beginning of the year because it's like a fresh start and you're kind of thinking the whole year ahead. That's why I think this is a good class to be teaching now. It's a little overwhelming, but it's at your own pace. It's your own things that work with your business. So everything I'm talking about in here, I'm going to give you tons of different ideas. Maybe not everything works for your business, but kind of play around with it and figure out maybe what is striking the most inspiration for you. So the first thing before I even go into how to set it up is some stats. I love stats. I know they say like 70% of stats on the internet aren't true, but I'm an optimist. So here's one of these stats that just boggles my mind, and I feel like a lot of you have probably heard it. 72% of people say they would use their realtor again, but on average only 17% do. When I first heard that, I think my jaw literally dropped. Because I feel like it's one of those things, like a lot of you leave these transactions, you're like, that went so well, I love this client, we're friends, you know, I plan on working with them their whole life. So then why is it that only 17% are reusing their realtor? A question is it poor customer service? Like, did I not do a good enough job? And Jay Papsan, who's a big agent down in Texas, says, no, it's a lack of communication. It's kind of getting that idea that, well, I sealed the deal, that's all I have to do. We'll revisit this in 7 years and they buy their next house, but that's not the way to do it. And I really like this quote by Ben Kinney. It says, real estate is a simple business with just 3 things. You have to know what to say it a lot, and have a lot of people to say it to. So the idea there is kind of connecting that to your database. Are you knowing what to say to your database? Are you getting in front of them a lot? 36 times a year at least. And how many people are in there that you're actively marketing to? So essentially that's the background as to why the 36 touch exists. The goal being to cultivate repeating and referral business. So the goal of a 36 touch, it's not, you know, random people that have never heard of you, met you before. These are your database, the core people you have worked with them before. It's your friends and family. It's the people that you're kind of, you know, expecting to work with you. So why is it maybe that they're not? So the goal is to make sure that you come top of mind first for everything, and those clients that obviously had a great transaction with you are coming back to you time and time again. So kind of already touched on some of this. Why are you doing this? So it's a way to stay in touch with your have met database, the people that know you, like you, trust you, would use you as their realtor. It's purposeful marketing that with a goal of hopefully eliminating those peaks and valleys that just come with the real estate profession. And out of a survey of 1,000 agents, they found that 75% of an agent's business came from their sphere and referrals, which is a pretty huge number. Obviously, that's not the stat for everybody, but it is a pretty significant aspect of why you should be staying in touch with your database. So first things first, there's so many types of database programs. So you have KW Command. How many of you have your contacts in Command and are actually using it? Okay. For those of you that didn't raise your hand, what are you using? Anyone? Nothing? Okay. Well, that's the goal. We're gonna, and a lot of this ties into Command, and with the new Command, a lot of it was thought out to help with implementing the 36 touch and making it a priority to stay in touch with your HaveMet database. But on top of Command, you have your top producer, you have third parties like Outbound Engine, Constant Contact, etc., Wise Agent. I know a couple people that straight up just use an Excel spreadsheet. And they do wonderfully, but it's what works for them. But there are tons and tons out there. A lot of what I talk about will ultimately kind of come back to Command because I do think it's going to be a really, really cool tool for you guys. And if you have time and can stick around after this class, It's going to be kind of like an open forum. You know, we're going to be talking about some command things, a couple other things that'll just kind of tie all this together. So if you have time, I definitely recommend sticking around. So if you've been with Keller Williams for a while, you may have been confused when you heard me say 36 touch. It used to be a 33 touch. If you had eEdge back in the day, you probably know they had some of those automatic email campaigns that just said 33 touch on them. Well, they've done research, and that was based off of the MREA Book 1. When the MREA Book 2 came out, they kind of reestablished that, and it's now 36 touches, and they call it the 36 to convert. So to convert those contacts into a deal is the goal there. And I hear they're working on MREA 3, so maybe a year from now this class will be a little bit different. So the first really big thing about it is just building your A database. So when they say your A database, it's the people that you're going to be marketing to with the 36 touch. It's people that you've worked with in the past, you've been introduced to recently and know that you're a realtor, prospects from your farm area that you've met face-to-face, family, friends, old classmates, church, networking events. It's amazing like how many people you know without actually like ever really realizing how many people you know, like just sitting there and listing them all. Like your veterinarian, the family of who babysits your kids, all sorts of things like that. So it's really just making sure you're building that database out, because if you don't have that database and you don't have it organized somewhere, how are you going to market to them? Any questions on that? So from the MREA Book 2, they have essentially 3 ideas of how to connect with people. The first being 19 to connect. So this is essentially the idea of turning unmets into mets. So people from your farm area, maybe you do a radio ad or a Facebook ad, something like that. The idea, and I'll go into each of these a little bit more in depth, the 7 to cement. So once you meet with them, cementing that relationship to make sure they remember you and now can be considered a met. And then lastly, that 36 to convert. So the intent is to get initial, repeat, or referral business. So that 19 to connect, these are people you haven't met before. You don't have a relationship with them. If you, once again, have been here a couple years, had eEdge, that was previously the idea of a 12 direct campaign. How you could kind of split that up is 4 touches of quarterly telephone calls. So in regards to a lot of people not really feeling comfortable with calling people they don't know, a good kind of strategy with that is circle prospecting around listings, methodically calling with a purpose. So if you have an open house, a new listing, a purpose for calling. 12 touches as a monthly email, 2 touches of promotional direct mail, so kind of like, you know, like those sport calendars that people send or magnets, things like that. And then 1 touch of an annual event, so maybe a community event that you invite the neighborhood to, something like that. Next you have 7 to cement. So this is the idea of cementing a relationship with somebody that you just met. So you really just want to make sure, this is like somebody you meet in an open house or you meet door knocking, something like that. Making sure, yeah, that person has the potential to be a good resource for you, whether as a client or as a referral partner. And when you meet them, making sure you do at least one thing to help them remember you. So Command, which I can show you at the end of class, what Command has already like as an option for you is a smart plan. Has anybody kind of explored the smart plans or what your options are there? So they have a couple that are kind of cool and work for this situation. So they have an 8x8 follow-up campaign. So what that essentially is 1 email a week for 8 weeks. That might look a little aggressive, but if you've met somebody, you know, door knocking who said, you know, I might be looking to list my house, you want to make sure you're staying in front of them for, you know, this kind of crucial time period so that you're the name that comes to mind. They're seeing that you are a valuable resource, you know what you're talking about. They also have an open house follow-up smart plan. So if you meet somebody at an open house, making sure you're acknowledging right away that you met with them, you want to work with them, etc. But just don't put them on a campaign if they're already working with a realtor. Just get that information on the front end. And then lastly, the 36 to convert. So this is really what the meat of the class is. The following activities are meant to help strengthen your strong ties and then tap into weak ones. So this is how they, like Jay Papazan did like a long class webinar on it. I highly recommend if you have time to watch him talk about it because it's pretty interesting. But this is kind of like an idea of how you could break down your 36 touch. But once again, this is not like the method for everybody. And you have to remember too, this isn't even talking about like your social media posts. Are you friends with all these people on Facebook? Are you connecting with them through Instagram, through YouTube, through all these other methods as well? So a lot of the time, a 36 touch actually ends up being more of like 50, 75, 100 plus touch, but these are really kind of the back end, the marketing plan that you're more so long-term planning for versus like a social media post that you decide to do. So who goes on a 36 touch? It's your Mets. So what exactly is a Met? You keep hearing me say this term. So when the first 33 touch was created, a Met was essentially anybody who knew or who you knew and also knew your name. But now they kind of changed that definition a little bit. So it's someone whose contact details you have, because obviously you can't really market to them if you don't have their contact details, and knows you're in real estate. So a Met is someone who's going to recognize your name, and so there's, I guess, some compliance laws as well that have kind of gone into effect. Someone you have permission to send things to. So that's kind of the big caveat there. A lot of the time, your friends and family, that's not going to be an issue, but that's also the beauty of having an unsubscribe option on all emailing systems, is you don't really have to worry about that side of things. What kind of things to send? So show your database that you're knowledgeable. If you're not knowledgeable on a topic, fix that. I would say one of the top things that I've noticed works well for marketing to your sphere is FAQs. So the questions that you're constantly getting from your friends, family, new clients, etc. Answer those questions before anybody even asks them. So showing that you're knowledgeable before they even realize that they have the question. Next, showing your database that you're successful in real estate without necessarily saying, look at how great I am. So that could be things like just listed, just sold, showing that you're out there doing these things, that you're active, that you're participating. And it could even just be showing, market stats, showing that you know what's going on in the market without actually saying, I'm the best realtor of all time. Give the kind of information that people would normally have to hunt or pay for, and your job being to interpret that information. So that really ties into market stats again. There's tons and tons of stuff out there, but what does that actually mean? Like, what is the result of that for your clients? Like, what does that mean if they, wait to buy a year from now? Like, what are those implications that you can kind of walk them through? This is a great time to start reaching out to your database because people have questions. That's where those FAQs come in. Doing a video market update. So we have team meetings in the office. Maybe Kevin talks about something interesting that you want to share. Instead of just posting about it, do a video about it. Show yourself talking about it. Lastly, reminding your clients and database that you have plumbers, contractors, roofing experts, mortgage people that for them at all times. So nobody should ever have to look elsewhere for those contacts, those questions. I know me personally, I'm very much like a referral-based person, whether it's movies and books or whether it's, something for my house. Like, I want to ask other people how their experiences have been, and then go based off of that versus just doing a quick Google search and finding it on my own. Because I'm going to trust my realtor's opinion on a flooring installation versus just necessarily people I don't know on Google. Phone calls. So the first big meat of 36 Touch is phone calls, and they consider it the most important aspect. So if you started with one thing today, did nothing else, it would be calling your sphere. So how they kind of break it down is picking, to kind of like, I guess, be a little less overwhelming, pick 2 letters of the alphabet every single week. That essentially equals 4 calls per person per year. Be conscientious as well of the letters you're pairing. For example, if you're trying to call everybody with a last name that starts with an S and a T in one day, that's going to be a long day for you. So they mentioned kind of like an A and Z, a B and Y, kind of pairing those letters that way, and then you have an organized system for when you're calling everybody. There is a smart plan within Command for setting people up on these calls. So you can set it up through Command, get those daily reminders right in that dashboard, so then it just kind of makes your life a little bit easier so you're not kind of having to manually remember.
Yeah, and Mary, I wanted to add to that too. I just shared a YouTube video, I think it was last week, on the DTD2, I think we're calling it, in Command. And it's a way to sort these letters by last name that Mary's talking about so that you have your call queue. And then that helps you in that CRM system. So
Perfect.
yeah, good.
That's amazing. Another point, so in general, people don't really pick up the phone as much as they used to. So being that person that does take the time to personally reach out to somebody, show that you care about them, their transaction, what's going on, just kind of differentiates yourself a little bit. Jay Papazan also suggests getting business out of the way first, then getting personal. I leave that up to your interpretation. So I like putting that in there because I find it kind of an interesting discussion piece. So the way he suggests it is, going right into it with a, hey, do you know anybody looking to buy or sell? And then moving into how's the family, et cetera, et cetera. I've also heard the opposite, start with the fluffy stuff, then move into business. And anybody here, what is your opinion? Like, if you were to call somebody today, how do you think you would script that, and what has worked for you in the past?
I like that idea. I wouldn't have normally thought that, but then it's like, because sometimes I feel like having a hidden agenda can come off that way.
And that's his idea there.
That I kind of like that, just like upfront, and then I feel like that would work really well. Especially on me, like I'd be like, at least they're not just like, making up that they really
care about my family, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I agree with that. Anybody else thoughts on that?
I think it depends on who you're calling and how frequently you're talking to them outside of your 36 touch. If it's a that you've just met and they know that this is business related, I think that's just fine. But if it's somebody who is a friend that to be honest, it's just staying in front of them and knowing that you're in real estate versus, hey, who do you know that's buying or selling?
Sure. Yep. So, like I said, I always like getting people's opinions on that because I know everybody does it a little differently. But thank you for your input. Okay, so events. This is where I start, my heart rate goes up because I start getting really excited about it. So event marketing, I will be honest, is my favorite kind of marketing. The way they kind of look at it for a 36 Touch is to be involved with 2 events per year that you're inviting your sphere to. This office, obviously, I'm new to it. Can somebody tell me the events that the office does? Do you do a holiday party? Do you do anything in the spring? Anyone?
So there's
Do a holiday party, that everybody can contribute to.
Then they do a dumpster event, or they have
Yes.
in the past.
Nice.
They do a blood drive.
The parade.
James J. Hill Days,
I love it. So the reason I love that is because you could technically center your 2 events off of events that the office is already hosting. So especially if you're a new agent, you don't have a ton of disposable income to throw at some big event, take advantage of what the office is putting on and allowing you to invite your clients to. So part of the reason that I love event marketing is I'm call-averse. I'll be honest. Sales, I tried it, not my thing. God bless all of you for doing that because you're killing it. But so for me, I love it because it's giving you a purpose for reaching out to people. And people want to feel special. They love that you're inviting them to something. So what they suggest is centering some of your touches around those 2 events. Or if you're doing more than 2 events, don't limit yourself. Do these for any event that you're planning on doing, whether it's an office-related event, an event you're hosting. But so what they say, you're doing a call to invite them. So call out to your database. Personal calls are for sure the best, but if you have some sort of sly dialer to make your life a little bit easier, if you're crunched on time, take advantage of it because it's better to get something out there to people than nothing. An email invitation with the details of the event. Having the visual aspect is huge, especially if they need to RSVP for something and have to click on a link. A text event reminder. So something that I've seen people start doing in regards to holiday parties, dumpster events, is a text reminder to their database as well. Because if somebody maybe wasn't able to call you back or missed the email or whatnot, for sure they have their phone in front of them. So for a lot of people, it might actually be easier to RSVP to a text message than it is to a phone call. Obviously, that might not be what you do for everybody, if you're not really comfortable there, but for people that you do have a relationship with, having that text reminder is super helpful. Another one that I've seen people do with that text reminder is doing a quick video and sending it directly to somebody. If you're willing to do it, sometimes it's good to personalize it for each person that you're sending it to, but just having that video aspect, seeing your face, the fact that you sent it to them personally, really, really important. The next, if you're going to the event, you're obviously seeing them there. And what I kind of look at too is, with this point, it's not a place to sell, it's a place to connect. if you're attending those events, your clients are attending those events, it's not all about real estate at that point. It's about building your relationship with them, showing how thankful you are that they're there. And then what I consider to be like kind of my favorite aspect about this is after the event, a phone call to either thank them for coming or saying, sorry, I missed you. And what is so interesting is that they say that the most impactful touch that you can make around an event is the sorry, I missed you call. It's acknowledging the fact people want to be missed, so the fact that you are reaching out to say, such a bummer you weren't able to make it to the event, I would love to catch up, let's grab coffee, something like that. Yeah.
So with somebody who you call to invite and they say, no, we're busy that week, or, you know, we're not gonna be able to make it, what do you, it's all about the touches, right? Do you stop touching them for that event, or do you continue?
Ooh, I've never gotten that question. That's a great question. I mean, I think it would kind of depend on their answer. So like if they show that maybe like they want to go but can't, calling them and just saying, I knew you wanted to come, just wanted to let you know, like, I really miss seeing you there, would love for you to come to the next one, something like that. So I think if you're comfortable doing it, you totally can reach out to them again, especially if you know you're kind of spacing them out a little bit. You're not calling them the day before and then calling them the day after the event. So I think if they're spaced out a little bit, I see no issue why you couldn't reach out to them about it again. But I think that's a personal preference, depends on their answer kind of thing. As I mentioned, taking advantage of office events, so the dumpster events, the holiday parties, etc. And then making sure you're taking photos, videos, etc., posting to your social media after the event. Showing people like how great it was, how fun it was, how much you enjoyed it. Be posting that all over Facebook, Instagram, all over. People like to see kind of that office environment, that the fact that you're hosting these things, being involved in your community, etc. Any questions on that one? So these are just some different event ideas that I've either seen or thought of or what have you, on top of just the events that are already going on in the office. So if you decide you want to do something a little bit more personalized, there's tons of different things that you could do. So I know an agent who's really, really passionate about Minnesota United FC, the soccer team. So she'll take clients, they have season tickets, she'll take a client to the sporting game. I've seen people do that with Vikings tickets. Maybe you could take people to Twins games in the summer. I know those are pretty cheap. Pet and family photos. If you are a photographer or you know a photographer, hosting like a family photo session where it's set up maybe in a park or in a studio and you can invite those families to come and get a family photo taken. I've also seen pet photos, which is a little kind of whimsical, funny, unique. People, they can bring their families as well, but encouraging people, like, bring your dog and take a photo with them, maybe have like cute little props set up, a background. Spring cleaning, so that's kind of like a dumpster event. I've also seen people do, I know the office does a big one, but if you have a farm area, maybe a little bit farther away, hosting that in that area kind of on your own as well. Pie days for either Pie Day, Thanksgiving, movie nights, pumpkin patch days, summer barbecues, charity golf events, doing some sort of event with like a local contractor, or I love goofy holidays. So like if you Google like literally goofy holidays, you'll find like tomorrow could be National Margarita Day for all I know. But taking advantage of kind of those fun little holidays, those are really good ones for just posting on your Facebook page. People tend to get it, or your Instagram, people get a kick out of them. So I know I've seen like bring your dog to work day, and then telling people post a photo of your dog in the comments, something like that. Those tend to get a lot of interaction as well. Any other things you've seen other agents put on, or ideas that you think would be fun to post?
I feel like pet ones are super popular, especially around here. Everyone has a dog. Yeah.
Or like if you find like a pet-friendly like brewery and hosting something there, yeah, I think pet-related ones are huge nowadays.
Or if you're a parent with little people.
Yeah, anything that can get like the kids involved. So I know like we do our pumpkin, like New American Funding did our pumpkin patch day, and it was like
fun.
so fun. Kieran got his glove eaten by a cow. But other than that, it was super fun.
You probably fed it to him, didn't he?
But other than that, like places like that, they have tons and tons of activities for kids, and you're not really paying for the extra stuff, you're just paying to host the event there. But tons of fun stuff there. Love, love, love event marketing. If you ever want to sit down and talk through, like, how do I plan an event, like what goes into it, please let us know. Like, we're super excited to kind of talk through that stuff with you. Okay, so bi-weekly emails. So what they say is about 24 of your touches should come from email. So they're saying about every other week. Email should be scannable, so don't make it like 7 inches. Yeah, you know what I mean. Don't make it super long. So you can use things like Command, Constant Contact, other platforms that create content for you. So in Command, those are smart plans. Something else that, because it just came out, I literally forgot to add it to the PowerPoint. You can now do single mass emails through Command. Did anybody else hear this?
When?
So this literally, this literally was like a last week, came out. And I can show you how to do that in the next class as well. But so similar to what you can do in MailChimp, you can now do those app mass emails through Command. So that's very exciting. And then with the smart plans, they have, this is not, the entire list of them, but you have things like those neighborhood snaps. I put myself on one of those just as like an example so I could see it come through. I think they're so interesting. And even if you're, somebody isn't necessarily going to buy right away, like I bought my house back in September, so I'm obviously not going to move anytime soon. But I still find it really interesting to see what's happening in my neighborhood. Are more people around me selling, or what are the houses going for, stuff like that. So the neighborhood smart snaps, super awesome. Birthday campaigns, purchase anniversary campaigns, all sorts of different things. So if you want to learn more about those, stick around after class and we can kind of walk through those a little bit more. If you're looking for more customization, so MailChimp is going to be my #1 recommendation if you want a little bit more control, a little bit more customization. In terms of like the single mass emailing feature, they still do have more features than the Command version does. Just for right now, I'm sure there's going to be more features that kind of come out through Command as we go along, but I know they really wanted to launch that functionality. But in terms of customization, MailChimp, killer, that's what we use for a lot of our mass emailing, and it just lets you do quite a bit with it and make really, really nice looking emails. 12 of the steps they mentioned should be some sort of kind of monthly market update. Neighborhood nurture campaign, perfect. You set people up, you don't deal with it basically ever again, unless they want, a different neighborhood added in or something like that. It's a set it and forget it. That's 12 touches, you're done, you don't have to worry about. And then making email content interesting and share worthy. Adding things that are going to get people to forward that on, or to say, like, look at what I just learned. So email newsletters, do any of you do a newsletter, whether physical or email? Is yours an email, physical?
Mine.
Okay. So I love email newsletters. I actually get a couple and I read them. Like I personally enjoy getting that kind of condensed content. And it's only, once a month, maybe twice a month. But if you can commit to doing one like email newsletter, like custom email newsletter a month, you have a whole month to come up with content. So it could be content you find interesting, articles. It could be a note from a referral partner. So if you want kind of an insight into something on the mortgage side of things, talking to Tanya, getting the information about that, sharing maybe a featured listing, things like that. So it sounds overwhelming, but I swear, like once you have a template for a monthly newsletter good to go, it's just swapping out the content every month. So if you can set aside, a day once a month to do that, I think that's super valuable. Once again, if that's something that you'd be interested in, let Tanya and I know. We can help you with that. Bi-weekly email content ideas. So if you're looking for stuff outside of just the market stats, here's just kind of a spattering of ideas. And honestly, this kind of thing works for your social media as well, like all these different topics. So like something of the month. So like featured coffee shop of the month, like or a featured restaurant of the month. Cleaning tips, event invites and recaps, behind the scenes of your office. So maybe using it if you're kind of looking to build your profit share tree and get other people to join Keller, showing how awesome your office is. Video, obviously huge. Pretty much any of these can be turned into a video. Interviews with local businesses. I know, especially with small businesses, if you can highlight them a lot of the time, especially in Minnesota where it's very like nice and you scratch my back, I scratch yours. People are willing to kind of do something for you in return, maybe have your business cards on their counter or something like that. Tips from vendors. So an example, why mortgage people ask for 1 billion pieces of paper? Highlight something like that. Because we do, and there's reasons for it. Heartfelt stories. So maybe you had like a really interesting client or like something happened and so it's kind of like a really cool story you want to share and you have their permission to do that, doing something like that. Basically any sort of like list. Has anybody else heard the term listicle? So it's basically the idea of like an article that lists like top 10 something or another. So I love listicles because it gives you information in a clean, concise, organized way. You know exactly what you're going to read. So doing like top breweries in the Twin Cities that allow pets or coffee shops, best live music. I've noticed since living in the south suburbs, it's very hard to find good live music down here. Am I missing something? Somebody send out a listicle with the best live music in the south suburbs. I will be liking that, sharing that. So I just gave you all an idea. Blog topics, if you have a blog, local events happening in the area. This is a big one. So if you have kind of a farm area or your neighborhood, a lot of the time like a city website or something like that, you'll be able to find like a list of events they're going to be doing in that area for like a certain month. Sharing that, I know I actually go to Facebook first when I'm looking for events in my area, like to see like what's going on. Are there like fun little like children's events happening or, you know, that kind of thing. So being the person to share that and giving people ideas of what they can do with their families, their significant others, etc. Love that idea. Design tips, before and afters. I realize I put video in here twice, but that's how important it is. Video. So in terms of email marketing specifically, you can use a service like BombBomb, or you can embed video in to MailChimp. You can also do that with Command as well. Any questions about this, email content, etc.? If all else fails, do a quick little Google search, good real estate email content, and I'm sure you're going to find a lot. Okay, so next, promotional direct. So they say this should be about 4 touches per year. Maybe if you're kind of being a little bit more strict with your budget, you do 1 or 2 of these and add 3 steps elsewhere. So basically what that is clever marketing items, pop buys, things like that. So what are things that people get that are just going to kind of surprise and delight them? So sending your client something that matters to you with a story of why you're sending it. So it doesn't have to be for everybody. This could be like a past client thing. So I know a real estate agent who did, this is actually what they did, ready for a Yeti koozie contest. So they sent everybody, like 200 people, a koozie with their branding on it and said, if you post this on social media, you could be entered to win a Yeti cooler. Something like that. Other ideas, Jay Papasan talked about this one, which I thought was kind of interesting. So there's a real estate group called Pickett Street Property. Pickett Street Property, and they have what they call an appreciation club, where every other month they send, you know, a past client or somebody that referred somebody a box with something, like an item that means something to them. So like a new CD that he found that was really inspiring, he sends it to all those clients. Something like that. That's a little bit more expensive. There are cheaper ways to get this done and still kind of surprise and delight people. So I've seen maybe you find a coffee shop that's willing to do like a deal if they bring in your newsletter or coupon or email. Or I saw somebody do, I thought this was so cute, they sent out little seed packets. Like they made a custom little flyer, stuck a seed packet to it, said something kind of along the lines of, thank you so much for helping me grow my business. I love puns, so I find stuff like that super adorable. And then what they did is put it, you know, like in kind of one of those little yellow envelopes, and it's called lumpy mail, which is such an unappealing term, but that's what it's called. And basically the idea is it's not just a standard like envelope, like it's got the name handwritten, and they can tell there's something in there. They're more likely to open it, they're more likely to like actually take a look at what it is. So just having something that kind of, you can feel it in there, it's surprising to people. But if you can't make it notable enough, it won't work. But I know that's one of those things where if you're willing to do that, like people are gonna post about it on social media, they're gonna call or text you to thank you. So just having some of those little items throughout the year, just to surprise people. And then if you're not sure if something's a good idea, bounce it off of other people. I do this constantly because I've like, especially with emails, like I constantly test emails or I send them to somebody and have them read it. They'll let you know if something, if it's something they'll use or want, or sometimes they'll have an idea to help make it better. And especially with any sort of like real estate related marketing, it's kind of good to ask somebody who's not in the industry if everything makes sense. So I know in mortgage we have so many abbreviations for things, like even like I'll say my LO Tanya, and I had a real estate agent say, "What's an LO?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh," because it's so second nature to me. So there are certain terms or certain things that, you know, your verbiage is different than how the general consumer understands it. So just making sure that what you're saying and what you're the point you're trying to get across is really hitting home. Your business is your database. So as you go forward with implementing a 36 to convert, think about the frequency and your medium and do what works for you. And then also be consistent and just focus on consistency, not perfection. So the reason I have these bolded and underlined is I remember back in college, and this is a line that stuck with me forever, frequency and consistency are the 2 pillars of marketing, no matter what you're doing. So making sure you're staying in front of people often enough and making sure that what you're doing is consistent. Is your branding consistent? So you're not, you know, changing out your colors every month or so. Like when they see something from you, they recognize it as you, and you are immediately what comes to mind. So where to start with that? The number one thing I recommend, so if you don't have a database yet or you haven't added them to command, create that database and then also scrub it. So for people that have been in the business for a year or more, taking 1 day a year to go through and make sure, you know, you have all the contact information for that contact. Are they even relevant to you anymore? So I know people that, you know, have a database of like 2,500 people at this point. It's like, but do you know those people? Like, do they know you? Making sure you're spending time on the people that are most relevant to you. Picking one task from today and starting it, whether that's, you know, organizing how you're going to call your database, putting people on the call smart plans, or maybe adding people to the neighborhood nurture smart plans, scrubbing your database. And then as you go along, adding one task on top of each other versus kind of trying to throw yourself in all at once. Because I know when I do that, I end up then doing nothing because I get overwhelmed. So then kind of on our end of things, so some co-branded marketing opportunities, absolutely utilize us. So if we're going to make your life easier by, you know, helping you come up with some maybe mortgage content that you can share in a newsletter, or co-branded social media graphics to help you post more, we love doing that kind of thing. So we can go over door knockers, co-branded flyers, social media graphics, videos. I'm not sure, Tanya, have you talked about like a green room or anything like that?
I didn't talk about it, no. Go ahead.
Well, let me share something very exciting with you. So we now at our Edina corporate office, which is pretty conveniently close to here and is going to be even closer to the Minnetonka location, we now have a full green room and a videographer. You may have seen Will here before. He's done tons of videos with Tanya. If you saw her super cute one with Kieran.
Oh gosh, that was the best.
Wasn't it so cute?
I just love that kid because he's just so flippin' and
There's more coming.
Yes. Oh, they're not done. So that was Will, the videographer, who took that. So that's his whole job. So we can have him come in. We can do co-branded videos. I know we've done some with the Desurics, and then they're able to get kind of video clips of them talking. Super cool. We love bouncing video ideas off of each other. And I know like we're kind of willing to do some of the fun stuff.
Yeah, so you guys, a couple things on the video piece of it that I want to add. He'll be at, I believe the 6th is like the launch day at the Minnetonka office. So Will is going to be there.
Yay!
So we wanted to just grab him if he wanted to do a, hey, this is me and this is my new office. Looking forward to helping you with your home needs this year or whatever. We can do some of that kind of stuff. If you have if you want to do like a video testimonial with a client that we've worked with, where we closed on their home, they've gotten settled into their house, and you want to go in and do some interviewing with them on how did it work when we were working with you, that sort of thing. Puppies and babies all over the place and chaos. We can do videos. We can create some fun videos to bring the real life to your social media too. So if you have different ideas of things that you want to do to market your business, we have a lot of tools to help you with that. So we don't just do mortgages. We do lots of marketing. So
which is my preference. It's way more fun. But yeah, Will's awesome. And with that green room at corporate, basically what that means too, like if you wanted to do maybe like a you and Tanya get together and kind of bounce off of each other for like maybe an FAQ series where you're like a 30-second video where you're answering a common question and you just film like 5 at once, and then you just have that content that you can post for like 5 weeks or however long you want.
Like interview based or
Yeah.
just topic, you know, whatever.
Yep, it's kind of like, it reminds me of like a Good Morning America or like a Today Show setup where like you can have like you can do it in front of like the nice desk, or you can have in front of comfy chairs. We also, if any of you have an Instagram, which I'm sure a lot of you do, we have like one of those grass walls with like the neon
I saw
light.
that. That was
Yeah.
so pretty.
It's so
I was thinking
cool.
it was around the block or something like in St. Louis Park because they have like something.
Oh, I love the block,
Oh,
by the
yeah.
way. But yeah, and so we have that too, so you could take, like, that's totally Instagram worthy. So like you take a picture in front of that, you post that on your social media. So
Fun stuff, not
just
boring.
a really cool setup. So if
Yeah.
that's something you're interested in, please let us know, because I know like we're super jazzed about it. So I bet you couldn't tell that at all. But then following up on kind of what we've been talking about before I keep going into kind of the social media side of things, setting up an appointment with us to kind of follow up on what we've talked about today and how you can start implementing some of these pieces in your business, whether it's setting up smart plans, whether it's figuring out, email ideas that you can do throughout the year, like that email newsletter. Please let us know. We're both people. We love sitting down, so we're all about that. And then one other thing that really ties in, if you're looking to stay in touch with your database after closing. Tanya, did you want to talk about this, or?
Go ahead.
Cool.
You're on a roll.
So this
It's
is
super awesome.
this is my favorite thing that New American Funding does, marketing wise. My favorite thing. I love to talk about it. What it is. So if you have a deal with Tanya and it closes for 7 years, that client is getting marketing with your face branded on it that you don't pay for. Free. Yay. So basically it's super cool. So they'll get, and I actually use New American Funding for my house, so I've started getting these things, which is really exciting. So they'll get holiday cards, they'll get birthday cards, purchase anniversaries, they get emails. Something that I've never seen another mortgage company do is quarterly, your face is on their mortgage statement. I've never seen any mortgage statement with a face on
Just to
it.
kind of back that up, so usually what I've mostly experienced is whenever we're at the closing table, we do all the work to get them there, and then the servicer is the one that actually sends the mortgage statement to them, whomever the servicer is. New American Funding is actually the servicer on those. So this is how we're able to market your information. So again, every 3 months, you as a real estate agent are marketed on their mortgage statement. Another piece that's not in this, but I will let you know, is if that person happens to be doing something a year down the road, 2 years down the road, whatever, and they get a mortgage pull, we get flags so that we can notify you. So if you're not working with them as a listing agent, you now have an opportunity to reach out to them and see what they're doing, okay? So there's a lot of marketing and future business that we're working to continue to keep you in front of your clients.
And another point too, like it's all updated with your information. We make sure that your proper headshots in there. If you need any of that information updated, all you have to do is let us know. We get it updated. We have a whole department that does, like, that is their job. So
on top of that, you don't even necessarily have to let us know. So let's say you forgot about, you forgot about this, that this was going out, right? And you got a new headshot. Or maybe your company logo stuff changed, the compliance stuff changed, okay? We actually have a monitoring group at our corporate office that watches to see if you have any of these changes. So usually your MLS is what triggers that. We send out an update to you and say, hey, is the stuff still updated? If not, can you let us know? So you've noticed since becoming New American Funding, when we've done a transaction, that is the same group that reaches out to you to say, hey, we're going to start your campaigning. Is this information accurate for you? So like Della, she got that, so then she got to reply and say, yeah, picture and everything is ready to go. But that's, even if there's any changes like that, we monitor it, so you don't have to go back 20 years later and be like, oh, look at me whenever I was 35, whatever, right? Like, we keep it current, okay?
yeah. So this, like I said, it's probably the coolest thing that we do, in my opinion, just because after everything I've talked about, staying in front of your database, that's 7 years of more touches to that person you worked with. And I think they say that the average is you buy every 7 years. Is that what it is? 7 or 9 years? Anybody?
I think so.
I think it's
Something
something
yeah.
along those
Yeah.
lines. But so it's nice to know that like your face is staying in front of them for that whole time. And it's really, really nice looking content. I had the holiday card up on my like little Christmas card display, and all that. So it's really cool that we have that available as well. So I know I mentioned we had started talking about marketing trends kind of at the beginning of the class. I just kind of want to bring that back, just kind of reiterate a couple points. So video marketing, you're going to hear me talk about it. You're probably going to feel like I'm beating a dead horse about it, but it's so, so important. And I know it gets people kind of a little uncomfortable, but that's a good thing. It's showing people that, you know, you're real. It's showing them your personality. It's differentiating you as a real estate agent. So, so huge. Posting that content. Social media in general. So, show of hands who has a Facebook page, a business page. Okay. Who has an Instagram? For those with an Instagram, is it a business profile? Is it a personal profile? Do you use it for both? Both? Okay. Is it set up as a business profile?
I have one that's business, but
Okay. So the reason I say that is I know, like, for us, she has a Facebook business page connected to an Instagram business page. That's super, super, super nice because having that connection means you're able to post from Instagram to your business page. Your stories are able to share to your business page because a lot of the time you might have a different group of people following you on Instagram than you do following you on Facebook. So making sure, and if people see it twice, they see it twice. Obviously they're following you because they like you, so it's not a bad thing.
I have a question.
Yes.
There are those of us who still live along with some of this.
Yeah.
Do you help us connect some of those?
Oh, I
together?
sure can.
Oh,
Oh yeah, yep, love it. So I can absolutely show you how to do that. On top of that too, advertising. Do any of you do Facebook advertising or have done it before? So if you have those two accounts, accounts connected, an advertisement you set up on Facebook, you can set it up so that it's also on Instagram. So then you're just hitting a whole nother group of people with a paid advertisement, not just on Facebook, but also on Instagram. So especially if you're doing like a video ad of some sort, that's gonna tie into Instagram so, so nicely. So that aspect's really cool. Yeah.
Will that also, can you also, when you do those drip campaigns on there, can you also set up where you would have lead generations coming at that point where they can put in their information at that time?
Yep, it still will take them to a contact form.
Okay.
Yep, super cool. With Instagram as well, because I think this is really where a lot of people are moving towards now, are utilizing stories. So stories is probably my favorite piece of Instagram now, and I know I post there a lot more than I post like an actual post. It's good to do both, but I think the nice thing about stories too, kind of what we were talking about in regards to live video, it's a place to really show your personality in a way where maybe you're keeping your feed a little bit cleaner, a little bit more with similar branding the whole time like we talked about. But the stories is really a place where you can just have fun with it. You can share. I love that you can do the polls in there. You can do, like, have the music playing in the background. You can use the little GIFs and all sorts of fun things. So once again, making sure you're differentiating yourself by showing that side of your personality. YouTube. Does anybody have a YouTube page?
yes.
Okay. Do you utilize it?
I've got doggy videos on it from 10 years ago.
Well, I mean, I love a good doggy video. But so, with not Instagram, YouTube, with TikTok, you can now advertise on those platforms. Yeah. And it's becoming even bigger than like Facebook advertising.
Yeah.
It's,
Because there's so much Facebook advertising.
yeah, it's just oversaturated.
I feel that way about Instagram lately.
Yes.
Holy crap.
Mhm.
It's like when you do an ad on Facebook, it also puts your sponsorship
I
on
know.
Instagram.
It's like every third post is something sponsored.
Yeah.
Oh my
Especially the content where it's like you Google something once and then it follows you
Yeah,
forever.
and they know I want that one nail polish.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Live, love,
Yeah.
is it live, love, polish?
Live Love Polish, is that the one that did?
No, that's not the one I do, but I
Okay.
Googled it for you and now I'm getting
And
the
now I-
advertisement.
Oh my
Right.
gosh. This, oh.
Like, I already bought it.
Right? So on this class, we need to wrap up as far as the time goes, but we have another back-to-back where we're gonna dig a little bit more into the technology setup stuff. So Mary, do you have anything else that you wanna do before you know? Is that it? Okay,
That's
so I guess to wrap up with the things that she talked about today are all good ideas for things that you need to be doing if you're not doing them already. And then of course, we're here to help you with implementation of those things. So if you have questions, reach out to Mary or I, and we will schedule some time to get together and do some planning stuff with you.
And I know I've already said this, but I'm so excited to be here, and I want people to sit down with me. So please reach out to us and we can get that scheduled.
Lovely. Okay, now I'm just gonna end this little video over here.